The Lord is leading me to speak about a prophetic word that He had given me last year that I had spoke on TikTok, and it was on June 7th, 2024. It's on my page. I will repost it as well for those to see it that didn't see it, because it does correlate with this word as well. So yes, in this prophetic dream, I was standing in front of a tree, and my friend was taking pictures of me, and there were balloons. Again, balloons, y'all. So, my future spouse comes up in this dream, and he's showing me his hangnail. He has a hangnail that is really, cut deep in his hand, like it's like really bad. And he was talking to me about it, and how, it was painful, how it hurt and such like that. And I was talking to him about it and telling him what he had to do. And in this time of me talking to him, literally the hangnail is, snatched out, forward, by my friend. And again, throughout this time, of us talking, and when the friend, snatches the hangnail forward, as in to get it out, so that it's no longer causing the pain, he doesn't even feel it. It's like it happened so fast, he doesn't feel it, and it's like he's restored. His hand is restored. He's not, in pain anymore. And God revealed to me again that he was that friend in the dream. The Lord has now given me, deeper revelation concerning this prophetic dream as well today, because he did lead me to go watch it again today, and he has given me new revelation. And in that dream, when I was standing in front of the tree and the Lord was taking pictures of me, that was me walking in my God ordained purpose. That was me now, being seen now, operating in my gifts, and, doing the things God has been leading me to do, right? The purpose. And when the God ordained spouse comes up, towards me in a dream, that represents reconciliation, right? That's, my spouse now coming forward, to now work on things, to now reconcile, to now make peace. So yes, my God ordained spouse coming forward now to show me, the hangnail, and, telling me about the pain and such, that it was causing and such like that. That was a representation of him, confessing, him coming forward to tell me about the things that were hurting him, and to why, things happened the way it did, when it came to us, to why it didn't work out and such, him actually being honest and truthful about certain things, that was causing him to be the way he was as well. So yes, this symbolized confessions and being honest and open about the truth when it came to, my spouse coming towards me. And this time when we were again talking about it, and I was telling him, about, how to, help the situation and such, at this time of me talking to my God ordained spouse, and when God ripped the hangnail forward and out, and he was completely healed, this showed that again, this was a part of, again, that restoration of him being healed as well, of him no longer being troubled by things as well, of him coming forward to confess, to truly tell the truth and such like that. So again, God healed him throughout that time, of him doing this. So again, this just showed how God, did ordain, us to come together at this time, so that again, it could be healed, the situation could be healed, restored fully. So yes, God led me to share this, because again, this is a representation of how it's going to go with y'all, as well. When it comes to these spouses, they're going to be coming forward to you as you also are walking in your God ordained purpose as well. You are now, healed yourself, and you could help them as well. But again, by them coming forward towards you to express themselves, to, commune with you and such, this is also going to do a healing within them as well, to help them to be at peace. They're going to be at peace when they have this talk with you. They're going to be at peace and, healed in a way, because this was what they needed to do. This was a part of, again, God's will for them to do, so that they can also receive that true, full peace as well, because you are a part of that peace. You are the package, a part of that peace. So, they were troubled still without you. It was never still fully whole, when it came to you not being there in their lives. So yes, them coming forward now to talk to you and confess these things, this is going to help them to also receive another, form of healing within themselves, to be in a better state, y'all, physically, spiritually, and mentally, emotionally. Yes. So, that's what God is saying with that prophetic dream. And again, as I was standing in front of the tree, focused on God, as he took pictures of me again, because God was the friend in the dream. And again, he tells us that he calls us our friends, and not servants, because again, servants know not what the master do, again, but he has revealed things to us, as in, his friends, because he views us as friends. Jesus views us as friends. But yes, so God was the friend in the dream taking pictures of me. And this also was a symbolization of me walking in my God ordained purpose. And again, this was, God's glory also upon me, him showing, him taking the pictures and stuff like that, and having me to be seen and such. This was also, revealing, who I was in God, as his, servant, as a follower of Christ. So, me focusing on God and such, and then the God ordained spouse coming up. This was how God always purposed it to be, so that I would be walking in my gifts and such. As I was in separation, I would learn who I was in God, and, with focusing on God. And that's what he has, you all doing as well when it comes to this God ordained marriage journey. As y'all was in separation, he has been revealing to you who you were in him. As you focused on him, he has been showing you your spiritual gifts. He has been teaching you your spiritual gifts and how to operate, in these gifts. So yes, God has purposed it to be that way, so that we would know who we are in God. And, that was us focusing on him, and that also coming with glory, that coming with his light upon us to be seen and revealed. And again, we have been seen and revealed by our God ordained spouses now. That's what the Lord is saying. Again, he had you in this place of, separation and such, for you to truly know who you are, as in your identity in Christ. And again, throughout this time, he has been, helping you to truly, walk in your God ordained purpose. You have started in some way. You have been taught these things as well, for you to start walking in your calling, in your purpose. So that's what he had this for. And again, at that time, the appointed time, and your person would return to you or come to you, so that you could walk in this God ordained marriage that he has purposed as well. So again, the spouse coming up on me as I was focused on God in the dream, while God took pictures of me, this was also showing that again I was walking in my calling and my purpose. And again, my person coming, presenting himself at the time that God purposed him to come. So, God had you focusing on God, this time, so that you can truly grow and truly walk in, again, the things that he has purposed you to walk in when it comes to ministry. Because some of y'all may have started y'all ministries, as well. And whatever God has told you to do, throughout this time of separation, you have been walking in your gifts, in your talents. You have been, preparing, for this. So yes, that's what the Lord is saying. And then also the balloons, I mentioned the balloons that was in the prophetic dream as well. And the balloons was the numbers 2 and 9, y'all, that I remembered in the dream. So, it could be again this month, on July the 29th, that you will be restored with this person, or you will hear, or, communication from them. And again, do not focus on the time still, but that just may be confirmation for someone, as the 29 today, as he's leading me to share this part of the prophetic dream that I had a year ago. But yes, the balloons that was holding up was 29. And again, balloons also represent, celebration. They're used for celebration and also birthdays. And again, he has been leading me to speak about happy birthday, and such like that. So again, some of you all, this is a part of, that birthday celebration that you are receiving, this return of your spouse, y'all. So, he's just saying, that is also, a part of this celebration. This is a part of that birthday gift of you receiving this God ordained spouse around this timing of your birthday. And this is a, birthday gift to you. But yes, the 29 could also just serve as confirmation for someone. If you're about to turn 29, or if you are 29, take it how it may apply. But yes, that's just, what was the balloons in the dream that I remember. It was a 2 and it was a 9. And then 29 in Strong's means it is a living testimony that the fatherhood of Yahweh governs Israel's history. So yes, y'all, this God ordained marriage will be a testimony, because again, of everything that y'all have went through, to reach this fullness, to reach this fulfillment that God has purposed and spoken over your life. So yes, you will testify of this. You will glorify, God, with this marriage, union that he has purposed for your life. And the Lord led me to John chapter 15, verse 15. And it says, henceforth, I call you not servants, for the servant know not what his does Lord do? But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. So yes, just as I mentioned in a dream that God was the friend. He was the one taking the pictures of me. So again, you all who have been standing, have been in relationship with God. Y'all have been, in relationship with Jesus. He is your friend, y'all. And he have revealed these things to you. He have revealed things to you concerning this God ordained marriage, that he has purposed you to receive and walk in. So yes, he has told you these things. And again, he had spoken this to you for you to stand in faith and believe in what he has said to you. And again, these things are going to come to pass, because again, this is prophecy. This is, what God has purposed. And again, no word from God will ever fail. So he's just saying again that he has revealed to you these things and such, and you have been waiting and standing, for this very thing to happen, and it will happen, y'all. So yes, you are a friend of God. That is what he is saying as well. You are a friend, and he has revealed these things to you because again, you have been in a relationship, and he wanted you to know these things because it was, for his will for your life. So again, you foreknew these things before it would happen, and this is why this will be a testimony, because God told you these things before it occurred. You had to go through, this season of separation and the waiting and such, because this was building up that testimony for you to be able to testify and be a witness of God, be a witness of Jesus and what he says he does. And again, in the prophetic dream, as I was talking to my God ordained spouse, and God ripping the hangnail forward and out of his hand, to where it's no longer causing him pain anymore. Again, this also is a symbolization of a miracle. So again, how this happened and how, it occurred when it comes to your person being healed and restored and a follower of Christ, this is a miracle, as well, with how fast it will be, with how fast things go for you, in this person. So again, God is just, also saying that this was a miracle, when it came to your God ordained spouse, because again, it happened quicker than what you truly think. Yeah, you may have been waiting, but when it comes to their part and how they received Christ and Jesus, it was more so a miracle, and how they received him, that healing, that fast healing, and how it occurred on their end. So again, to you, it may have appeared to be you waiting for a while, but for them and their process, it was a miracle of them being healed, of them being restored, and found in Jesus, receiving that gift of salvation. But again, that is what the Lord is saying when it comes to that, because it was within a quickness that again, my God ordained spouse was healed just that quick, and such, in the prophetic dream. And again, that's what he is saying within these God ordained spouses. They are healed within the quickness with how God had been doing things. You don't see everything, but again, how God operates, in the spirit, and then when it comes to it manifesting, it happens differently. God is God and his ways is higher than our ways. We may be seeing a certain thing in the physical, but it's a whole total thing going on there truly that you don't see. So yes, he is saying this is a miracle, restoration that is happening when it comes to these God ordained spouses and these unions being restored. God is the healer. He was the one to heal. So again, just as in a dream that I was talking to the God ordained spouse to tell them, certain things and such, God was doing it, So again, this is a representation of how you were, also standing in a gap, yeah, you were being used to help them, spiritually, because you were praying for them. But again, it was God that was the healer. He was the one that truly healed. He was the one that truly restored them, but by your obedience, to the Holy Spirit, this is how it happened. So, miraculously. So yes, but yes, that's why it's more so of a miracle when it comes to them and their salvation, and how things happen with them being restored and knowing these things, when it comes to them and God, because it was you also being used to intercede for them. So yes, in the dream, yeah, I was talking to him, but God was doing the true healing. God was the one that pulled the hangnail out. So yes, you were praying for them, but God was the one that truly, healed them and saved them and restored them. But yes, and again, he's leading me to share this as well. Some days ago, I had like a feeling in my hand that felt like it was something in my hand. So I had looked at it, but I kind of ignored it. But then the next day, I kept rubbing on it and it was sore. So I started to pick at it, and open it up to see, because I thought maybe I got a a blister in my hand. So I started to dig to search for it, and it was nothing there, y'all. So although I thought it was there, it was truly nothing there. And that's why God reminded me of this prophetic dream that I had given a year ago as well. Because again, that hangnail, in a sense was like, something that was causing this God ordained spouse, pain, from coming forth. And that was something that they had to deal with, right? And again, just with my hand, with me, picking at it, and it appeared to be a blister, it appeared to be a splinter. I'm sorry, I said a blister. It appeared to be a splinter in it, but there was nothing there. And God was telling me that it is healed. There's nothing there when it comes to that specific thing that was, there before within that God ordained spouse. So yes, as I was digging, in my hand, because I thought it was a splinter in my hand. I thought it was a piece of something in my hand, using tweezers, but come to find out there was never nothing. It was nothing there, but I just thought it was. So again, God is just saying that it has been healed. That was him, telling me, that what was there is now gone. Those, things that were, causing that setback, within that person as well. And also could be within you, that thing that was hindering, your God ordained spouse, and that was hindering you as well when it came to growing and truly moving forward and being healed in a way that you needed to be healed. It is now out. It is now healed. It is now done. It has been completed. Whatever that thing was, it's no longer there. That's what God is saying. So that is why, again, your person is now able to come forth to receive you, because they have, been, cleansed. They have been, healed in a way to where they needed to get whatever that it was that was causing them, that pain that was causing them to be stuck in their ways and refuse changing, and such, out of them. They had to get it out. They had to face it, y'all. And that's what they did. So, that's what the Lord was also, showing me when it came to that splinter that I thought was in my hand, but there was nothing there. It had been, out. Okay. There was nothing there. So he is saying, again, with this person, those things that was once there within them, when it came to, that stagnation, to why they couldn't change for you, to why they couldn't receive you, the things that were hindering them from moving forward and truly loving, and such like that, it has been uprooted. It has been removed. So, they have faced it. And again, this was needed. This was very needed so that they can move forward and truly, grow. And again, a lot of them were stuck in their ways. They didn't want change. When it came to you, that's why, again, the separation was needed, because again, you both was a hindrance to each other. And, one of you didn't want to truly change. One of you didn't want to truly grow. You were stuck with doing things how you wanted to do it. And that's for one of you. If you're the one who's standing, that's how they were. One of y'all was stagnant and didn't want to see change. One of y'all wanted to stay in that place of comfort where they were, which was also still wrong and in sin, living a life of sin, and not, a life that is pleasing and acceptable to God. So, one of y'all wanted change, and that's why, again, the separation was, taking place and needed, because again, through you as well, you were going to help this person to be able to overcome the things that was causing them to stay in that place of fear, to stay in that place of hurt, that they couldn't let go, and, was set on doing things how they wanted to do it to protect themselves, versus truly, living life, without fearing, when it came to love and other things. Yes, y'all, God is just saying, again, that splinter has been taken out. Okay. Again, although I thought I was up here trying to get something, it was nothing there. So he is saying it has been removed, y'all. Whatever it was in their heart and their mind that was keeping them stuck, that was keeping them in fear of truly loving and moving forward and growing and changing, again, it has been removed. And again, they have received that healing that they needed so that they can move forward and embrace change. And the Lord has led me to 1 John chapter 4, verses 16 through 18. And it says, and we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. God is love, and he that dwell in love dwell in God, and God in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love cast out fear, because fear hath torment. He that fear is not made perfect in love. So yes, y'all, many of these spouses was in fear of love. They truly didn't know how to love, and also they were scared to love because again, they had been, heartbroken in the past in some way. They had faced, hurt from people in some way, abandonment in some way, whether within their family or again with other past, relationships. They had been, let down before, and they guarded themselves in a way to not love. They didn't want to truly give people their all or that side because they was in fear that they will be hurt in the process. So that's what it was, that was causing them not to truly be able to love you correctly as well. Because they didn't truly know Jesus, and then also because they was in fear from the things that they had faced in their past when it came to other relationships, how people done them. They didn't want to give their all to people no more because they felt that, that's was the safer way, without, falling for someone. And when it came to love, in a way, that would protect them. But again, God tells us that fear is not found in love. There's no fear in love. When you love, boldly, and openly. There's no fear in love. You don't, be scared to love, and he teaches us that. So yes, y'all, these spouses was in fear to truly love. They didn't feel comfortable doing so because they were scared that they will be hurt in the process. So yes, and again, this is because of their past. Whatever they have experienced in their past with other, relationships or with their family members of how they've done them, and such, they were in fear to truly love someone because they had been let down in some way. But yes, God has searched them and God has searched you. And again, he has, uprooted the things that needed to be, taken out and faced. There was no more hiding it anymore. You both had to truly, take it on, before God and truly confess and, come to him in this way, to truly see, the things that y'all needed work with, and, to truly, stop fearing from, and again, you may fear certain things as well, and they may fear certain things, but again, y'all both had inner things that y'all needed to face separately before God brought y'all together. So yes, God is saying he has searched you both, and there has been a completion to some form of healing that he was doing within you and your person. You both are now at a level and place where God needed you to be, to come forward and receive each other. There was something that you both had to deal within before coming together. And the Lord led me to 1272 in the Strongs. And in Hebrew, it says to flee, to escape, to run away. So yes, God is saying as well that these spouses were running. They were running from love. They was running from love because they was afraid of getting hurt. And, again, them running from love is simultaneously them running from Jesus, because we know that God is love. So again, by them running from love, this was going to keep them in that way of also sin, of fornicating and all these things, trying to protect themselves, living life how they think is best for them, because it's safer, but yet they're still living a life that is unpleasing. It's not right, it's not righteous. So, they was trying to run from love when truly they needed it. They truly was in need of Jesus, so that they could be healed and truly receive love from him, because again, he loves us first, and again, so that we could be able to receive that love and also give that love, when it comes to, relationships, so that we could truly love properly and how he called us to love, how he teach us to love in his word. So, it was necessary for this to happen so that they could truly receive God, to be loved first by him. His love is the greatest form, okay? His love is true love. He is love. So, we all needed to experience that Jesus love so that we could be able to, truly love, our spouses, that we were purposed to be with. And again, this is this person, that were in need of Jesus, just as you were in need of Jesus as well, so that y'all both can love each other like Christ loved the church. But yes, and the Lord is saying as well that some of these God ordained spouses did have a feeling, a strong sense that it was you, but they was rejecting it, and this could be because of what y'all, been through, or, how you may have, left them at certain times because again, you was doing, what was best for you. you didn't want to settle and such like that. So, they did have a time of rejecting you. They were rejecting it because they felt that you left them. They felt that you, was going to continue to hurt them, because when you would leave them, this was hurting them, and they were also, feeling that abandonment again that they once felt in the past. But again, you were doing this only because, again, this was something that you didn't want to settle for. Some of y'all didn't want to settle for, the, situationships and stuff like that. So, they wanted to stay in that comfort, that place of comfort, to where they felt that that was good enough. They were doing what was good for you in a way, but again, it wasn't enough. It wasn't, right either. It wasn't God's way. So, it wasn't how it was supposed to be. So you were led to leave, those times as well, for a reason. This was all a part of, again, them still having to come to God in the end anyway. Y'all dealt with each other for some time, but when it came to that time of final separation, to where there was no back and forth anymore, but you solely focusing on God, this was purpose. This was God's will. So, this also helped them to truly, come to see that, again, you were, the one, you were the one that didn't stay with that bare minimum that they were used to giving when it came to other people, because that doesn't, do anything either when you stay in that place of, stagnation of comfort for someone else, and they had to truly understand that you left because, again, you loved them. It wasn't because you hated them or you just wanted to leave them, but you left because you loved them, but you also loved yourself. You loved yourself and you loved God more. So, you wanted to do what was right for you when it came to growing. And again, this doesn't mean that you hated them or you just wanted to freely leave them just because. No, you truly cared for them, but they had to see that, again, that you leaving them was truly love, because again, this is what helped them to receive Jesus in the process, and also to come to see that you were the one and you had been still standing for them. So that, yeah, you may have physically left them, but truly you were still standing with them in the spirit. You were still believing in them, and that they would, come to Jesus, that they would, surrender and do things the right way, that they will receive that change. So yes, that's how some of them was feeling, to why they were also running from you and, were rejecting you as well, because they felt that you left them, because you did maybe physically walked away, or vice versa. If, this person left you and such like that, you may have felt this way at some point in your stance with them. And again, this was still all a part of God's will, to truly work on the inner issues that you both needed to face and heal from. But yes, y'all, again, God is saying that they were running from this. They tried to run from it from some time, y'all, till they couldn't run anymore, and they had to face how they felt, and these things head on with God. And, this has also helped them to see things better now and truly perceive things in a different lens than how they was viewing it with their fleshly lens, how they felt just because of what you did, when it came to you, changing and wanting better, and then same for, you when it came to them, it's just now that you both are able to see now, again, what God was truly doing in the midst of this all. So, it was higher than you both, truly y'all didn't know, that this will all come from you, being split as well. But again, God revealed these things to y'all, at appointed times within y'all faith journey. And again, this has helped y'all to truly, see, that it was all a part of God's will. This was all, purpose, so that you both could receive God, and the love of God first, so that you could love each other properly and truly receive each other and love each other the right way, and no longer how that old way was, doing things godly, doing things that is truly, pleasing to God. And the Lord is leading me to share this as well. On July 23rd, 2025, I went to do a run, y'all, and I hadn't ran since May 20th, 2025. So, it's been some months, okay? And keep in mind, I have not been exercising at all. But, back then on May 20th, 2025, I did a 1.5 mile run. And then July the 23rd, I did a mile and a half run. And, although it had been about 2 months, I came back running faster this time than the time in May, y'all. So it was truly, mind blowing to see how I had ran faster, the second time now in July than I did in May. And keep in mind, I have not ran or worked out since then. And before then, it was a long time since I ran. It was probably October 2024. So, just to see that this last run was faster than the first run in May. And when I went out to run on July the 23rd, as I was running, I was motivated to do better. I wanted to do faster, although I know I hadn't had exercise and worked out since May 20th. But again, I wanted to do better. I was, I had goals to want to do better. So as I was running, I was, praying in a sense. I was calling on God, telling him to help me, Lord, because, I was trying my best, to be better. I was trying my best to do better in this run because I wanted to truly beat my last time. And, as I was running, I was saying, Lord, please give me the strength. Help me, Lord, to keep going, and I was doing it. And when I finished, y'all, again, the time was faster than the time in May, y'all. And I'm going to, read the times that it was. And he led me to search these up in Strong's Concordance as well. And it relates to this message. Okay, so on May 20th, 2025, I ran a mile and a half, and the time that I completed it was 13 minutes and 31 seconds. And 1331 in Strong's in Greek says to inquire thoroughly, to question closely. So yes, God is saying that again, this God ordained spouse was, questioning, things, when it came to you, because they were thinking about you, they were constantly, thinking about you to where, you couldn't really leave their head or their heart. You truly never left their heart. But again, they were asking the Lord about you as well. It came to the point to where they start to ask about you and to why, certain things, that they were saying when it came, to you. And, God did answer them. God did, reveal things to them, and to where now they were able to receive it and truly see, who you are to them. So yes, they were going to God asking him things as well, because there was things that were happening with them to why they couldn't still get over you, to why you were the one that was still coming up in their heads and such. And, this also is because it was in their heart, you were in their heart. But whether they could truly see that or not, you were always there. And, that spot for you was never removed. It was always there because you were their God ordained partner. So again, it was never going anywhere, no matter how they tried to physically move on. So yes, they did come to a place of asking God about you, to why, you were still in their heads, or why they were seeing things when it came to you. You were coming up to them, although y'all don't speak anymore, although y'all hadn't seen each other. But yes, and God did answer and reveal to them who you were. Okay. And then 1331 in Hebrew says virginity, the state of sexual purity before marriage, and by extension. So yes, God is saying that your God ordained spouse see you as pure. They see you as innocent. Some of them have been watching y'all. This should serve as confirmation as well. You may have been noticing certain things, of them watching you. But yes, God is saying as well, even if you haven't received actual signs of them watching you, they are watching you. They have been watching you, and they see how you live. They see that you are changed and you no longer how you used to be. So, they view you in a place of, true pureness, when it comes to you. They see that you're no longer like that old version that they once knew you as, y'all. And again, you are pure. You have been, sanctified with the blood of Christ. So, you have been cleansed, and, many of y'all have been, abstinent. You have abstained from, sexual relations and such, because you have been waiting for this God ordained spouse. So yes, they may know this as well, that you're not doing this and such, but yes, they see you as pure. So yes, even though you may not physically be a virgin, you are still, spiritually a virgin when it comes to you being transformed and renewed, because you're no longer that old version of yourself. You have been cleansed and, been in abstinence. You have been practicing abstinence for some time. time. So again, you are made new spiritually and such like that. So you have truly been walking in pureness. You have been walking purely with the Lord in this weight, standing for this spouse. So yes, God is just saying as well that they know this. Some of these spouses do truly know this, that you are truly pure, and that you're no longer like that old version of yourself. So yes, God is just saying that again, these spouses know that you are pure. They know that you are not doing, these worldly things, as in fornicating and such like that, and how you truly are walking the walk with God. They see that, they know that. And God has revealed that to them as well. And for those whose God ordained spouse, is someone new and such that you will be, meeting, and that God is bringing you into union with, He is saying that this person will respect you for being pure in a way of abstaining from sexual intercourse. So this is not something that you have to worry about either. You will be able to still, date this person in a courtship in a way that is respectful, to where they will honor, your reason, to where they will honor, you, and not indulging in those things. And the same for them. Again, you just have to make sure that you're standing again on what you say that you have been practicing with the Lord. But yes, again, they're going to truly honor you abstaining, and not wanting that. They're going to see the value in that. So He's just saying, this is something that they truly will love about you as well, that you're not someone that has been just fornicating, but you have been preparing for them. You have been waiting for them. So yes, He's just saying they're going to see you purely, and they're going to respect you for the things that you have been doing, out of obedience to God, when it came to truly following God. Because again, we know that abstinence is, a part of following God, practicing abstinence until we are married. But yes, He's just saying that these God ordained spouses do see that you are, pure. You are truly pure, and you're truly walking it. They know that you're truly walking it. And again, that you are truly, God fearing as well. They see this, y'all. And again, they have been watching you as well. Okay. And then on July 23rd, 2025, I ran 1.5 miles, and my time that I finished was 12 minutes and 49 seconds, y'all. So yes, that was much faster than 13:31. But yes, and then I was led to search up 12:49 in the Strongs, but I accidentally, y'all, searched up 12:59 in the Strongs. This was intentional though. God is very intentional. He is so funny. But yes, y'all, He led me to search up 12:59 in the Strongs, although I was supposed to be searching 12:49 in the Strongs, but 12:59 in the Strongs for Greek says to reconcile, to change thoroughly, to reconcile, reach mutual concession, where people in conflict come together through meaningful change. God is so purposeful. He is so purposeful, because that was a part of this word. He meant for me to search up 12:59, although I was trying to search up 12:49. But yes, y'all, God is just saying again, y'all are being, reconciled, back to each other. Y'all are about to come together and reconcile. That is where He was talking about that peace. Y'all both coming together to make peace, and find peace with each other. And again, y'all both are going to now have peace versus that place or state of conflict where y'all left off at, or where it was, that was not, truly at peace when it came to the separation and y'all having to leave each other. But yes, He's just saying that again, y'all will be reconciled back to each other. This person is coming towards you. You are coming towards that person, and y'all are about to truly receive each other and have these conversations. Y'all about to have these, conversations that has been meant to be had, for some time. And again, this is at the appointed timing that it was meant to take place. So yes, y'all both receiving change now with God are now ready to come together and be reconciled. So, He is saying that be prepared, because this is coming to where y'all both will have these conversations and these confessions, and y'all will make peace. Y'all will talk it out and y'all will make peace. And then 12:49 in Strong's for Hebrew says pure, clean, innocent, moral, cleanness, visual brightness, or unadulterated integrity. So yes, God is just saying again that you both have been made pure. Y'all both have been clean. Y'all both have been found innocent before him. So again, it's not just one-sided, y'all. God sees y'all both, as pure, as clean, as innocent, because y'all both have, received him and have received the change that was needed, to take place within you both. And again, he is saying, y'all both are shining. Y'all both are bright, with his light upon you both. And again, y'all both will be able to shine together now, as he bring y'all together in this unity, in relationship. And then 1249 Strongs in Greek means servant, minister, deacon, one who renders active, often personal service to another. So yes, God is saying that you both will serve one another. As y'all come together in this union, you both will, serve each other. Y'all both will help each other. Y'all both are, each other's helpmates. So, y'all both will be doing this journey together now, this faith journey together, and y'all both will be walking in your God ordained purposes. Y'all both will help each other to carry out y'all assignments. And again, y'all assignment is still together, when it comes to this marriage. Y'all have a God ordained assignment when it comes to this marriage. So yes, he is saying that you both will be operating in your gifts, as well. Y'all will be operating in y'all calling and y'all purposes. And we know that marriage is a form of ministry. So yes, y'all both will have, a ministry, when it comes to this marriage and this purpose that God has ordained y'all together. And y'all will both help each other. Y'all will both serve. Y'all will both do a service to one another and also to those that God assigned y'all to. So yes, this was also a part of the purpose, yes, for y'all to come together, but also to walk together in purpose when it comes to y'all assignment to God's will. So yes, y'all, with me getting out there to go and run, although I haven't ran in 2 months nor exercised, but just was getting out there and then also trying to beat my previous time, to do better than I did before in May, just shown dedication. And God is just saying as well that these spouses are coming to do better than they did before. They're coming to show you differently and truly show you, better than what they have done, in the past. So, they're coming to show you true change, and truly, try with you and truly want to grow with you, wanting to do things better when it comes to loving you. They are coming to show up and show out for you. They are coming to put forth their best effort when it comes to you, y'all. So again, this is going to be much different than what you have seen in the past, and again, what you have experienced with others, because again, they're going to be trying, okay? Just as I was running and I was, asking God for strength, saying, help me, Jesus, praying as I was running, again, that was also a representation of me leaning on the Lord to get me through it. And that's what God is saying, how these spouses will be. They will be leaning on God to get them, through the things that they do face when it comes to this relationship, the difficulties that may arise. Again, they will be leaning on the strength of the Lord to continue to try when it comes to you and to love you properly. So again, this time it will be with God. It will be them leaning on the Lord and, seeking the Lord and depending on the Lord to get them through the things that they may face when it's time of trouble or affliction, when it comes to, again, life in general that they may face, and also in this relationship, because again, no marriage is perfect. You face, challenges throughout marriage, and that's what God had been preparing us for as well, because again, once we are married with these God ordained spouses, there's no leaving and walking away from them. Again, this is the person that God ordained for you, so y'all are to work it out. This is your, other half. This is what he joined together. And how, as his word says, what God joins together, let no man separate. So again, y'all have to go to God about everything when it comes to this relationship, this marriage, because again, this is a covenant that you're in with God. So yes, she is just saying that these spouses will be leaning on him when it comes to strength and truly loving you and, doing better for you, when it comes to, truly treating you, how you need to be treated, how God purposed you to be treated. And the same for you. You will be leaning on God as well. But yes, that's what the Lord was showing. And again, just as I had ran that time faster than the time before, although I hadn't worked out, although I hadn't ran at all, and it was hot outside, y'all. Again, I ran a faster time, and God is saying with that, with God, again, all things are possible. With God, these things will look different and will be, much better, more than you imagined, because it was with God. So again, yes, I was leaning on God and saying, Lord, help me through, as I was running, but again, God got me me through. God helped me to run a faster time as well, because I was leaning on him. I was praying for him and I was motivated. And again, although I hadn't ran, so again, that is very hard to, go without running and then go out there and just run a mile and a half faster than the time you ran 2 months ago. So yes, God is just saying, with God, all things are possible. And again, he will get you through, things when it is challenges that you may face. It will always work out with him. So again, y'all both will be leaning on the Lord and your house will be built on God. So yes. And again, he's also saying with this, again, those miraculous transformations as well. Just as I got out there and I ran that time that was way faster than the time 2 months ago. Again, he is saying that is how, again, these God ordained spouses are going to be, treating you and acting as well when it comes to this relationship. So again, although that they were running from this, God ordained, relationship and such, or they were running from God and such like that as well, the transformation that has happened within them and how they're going to be changed and, truly, walking with you in this relationship with God, it's just going to show how God did, how it was all God, especially in the time frame of it happening, y'all, and how it happened. So yes, God is just saying that how God is going to get the glory because it's going to be something that was like a miracle of how it happened. So again, yes, just as I got out there and I ran that time that was faster than the time 2 months ago, just, was a symbolization of a miracle, of, again, things turning around and truly being different, drastically, because of God, and how God ordained and positioned it, and set it up. So yes, he's just saying it's because of God. It's because of him, that these things will happen and take place as it did and how it will happen and how fast it will happen. But yes. And then the Lord led me to search up 1254 in Strong's, and in Hebrew it says create, shape, form, to cut down wood, new conditions and circumstances, transformations, a clean heart. So yes, y'all, God is just saying again that he has created in them a clean heart and an upright spirit. He has shaped them, and helped them to be transformed and changed, y'all. So again, they will be coming towards you, in the way of newness because of Christ, because of Jesus and his hand. Again, he has chopped down some things, remove some things out of them that they had to, release and let go. And again, this goes for you as well. So yes, he has shaped you both and formed you both, to be in, his image and walk in his image as, again, being renewed and transformed, by the Holy Spirit when it comes to how you live and how you, walk and such. And so yes, their heart is made clean and new in Christ, just as your heart is made clean and new in Christ. And again, this does not mean that they are perfect. So remember that, this does not mean that they're not going to still have things that they have to work on, just as you still have things that you have to work on. So, he's just saying that, again, that the heart of Christ is, reflected in them now because, again, God has their heart. Their heart is rooted in God now, and they're trying to, live a life that is pleasing and acceptable to God. They have accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. They have received the hand of Jesus. But yes, so he has created in them a clean heart, y'all. And 1254 in Strong's in Greek says to hinder, to prevent, to obstruct, to hinder altogether. And God is saying with this that, again, in the past, you both was a hindrance to each other. You both was, delaying each other. You both was, blocking each other in a way, although you may have thought, it was good, it was right at the time. Again, y'all still was, a hindrance to each other because y'all wasn't facing, the things that y'all needed to work on. Y'all was both comfortable where y'all were at the time, when y'all were, together and such. And again, this was because of y'all past trauma as well. The things that y'all both had experienced in your past, they call it trauma bonding, or whatever. But, because y'all both experienced similar things, y'all were together and, enjoying what y'all had at that time in the way that y'all did because of the past and what y'all had experienced with heartbreak as well. But again, it took for y'all to leave each other to truly see, the right way to do things. It took for, one of y'all to leave for y'all to truly, receive the hand of Christ as well. So again, by you walking away or your spouse walking away, that had helped one of y'all come to Jesus and to receive Jesus and then stand for the other partner as well as they were still out in the world. So again, this was needed for, you both to receive the love of Christ and again, to come together with Christ at the center of this relationship, because in the past, you both was doing it without God. You both was doing it without Jesus. Okay. And y'all didn't truly know Jesus. Y'all y'all knew of Jesus, but y'all didn't know Jesus, and now with y'all hearts being rooted in God and having that fear and reverence towards God, this is going to truly help you both flourish within your God ordained assignments. And again, when it comes to this marriage, this union, so y'all needed to leave each other so that y'all could receive Jesus and then come together again, so that again it could be the right way with Christ, living righteously. But yes, the separation was necessary, y'all. It wasn't to hurt you or for your spouse to be hurt, but it was truly to heal you both. It was truly to help y'all both be restored and truly receive that way of life, which is Jesus. He is the truth, the way, and the life. And you both were able to receive Jesus by the separation. So yes, this was all a part of God's will and the assignment that he has purposed y'all, to fulfill in this life. And again, when it comes to this marriage union. So yes, with you both walking with fear towards the Lord, as in strong reverence, towards the Lord, this is going to help you both walk wisely, and again, God tells us wisdom comes first with the fear of the Lord. So again, by y'all now being, fearing of the Lord, God fearing, y'all both will walk wiser and wisely as he purposed, and be a help to those that were once like y'all, living by the flesh, walking by the world, that is not right, that is not pleasing to God. And the Lord is granting you both as well the desires of your heart that y'all both have asked him, even in separation, those things that you have asked and prayed him, he is granting you both these things, and such, because again, y'all have submitted to his will, and this is a part of his will, including this God ordained marriage. So again, he is bringing y'all both together, and again, he will gift y'all these things that he has purposed y'all to receive. And this is that grace and favor, that y'all will be blessed with, when it comes to this marriage union, when it comes to this relationship, because this was God's will. So yes, he is just saying that again, those things that you have asked and those things that your person have asked, y'all will see these things, come to pass and receive them together, because again, that's where that favor is, within this marriage. That favor comes with this marriage, and again, God tells us a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So he's just saying again that those things that y'all have asked for, and those desires that y'all have in your heart, y'all will receive and walk in them and do those things and such, because again, it is a part of his will, and it is a part of his purpose, his plan for y'all lives. When it comes to y'all assignment, it's rooted, in that, so yes, it's a part of that. So yes, this is how again you both will bear good fruits, when it comes to the Lord, with y'all both being rooted in the vine and y'all being the branches. So yes, just as that prophetic dream that I had mentioned earlier about me standing in front of the tree and such, and God taking a picture of me, and the God ordained spouse showed up. Again, this is how it is, going to be with you. Again, you are going to be walking in purpose with your God ordained spouse. And again, y'all are a part of that tree, that vine. Y'all are rooted in, Jesus. And again, y'all are, a part of that tree. Y'all are, the branches. So again, you both will, glorify God, and again, y'all, his glory will be upon y'all as well, as y'all shine and walk in y'all calling. But yes, and the Lord led me to 1 John chapter 3 verses 21 through 22, and it says, "Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then have we confidence toward God, and whatsoever we ask we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight." But yes, y'all, that is the word. I know I did mention that this will be a 2-part word, but it appears to be that it will be a 3-part word, because again, the first part ended up being cut into 2 separate videos, making it 3. So, the second revelation of the word was supposed to be the second part, but because again, the first video was cut into 2, it will appear to be as 3 parts. And I did mention that the second revelation, that was supposed to be the second part, referred to as the true second part, will have the video of the butterfly, the orange butterfly in it, giving the revelation and such for that part of the word. But yes. And again, I will be reposting the prophetic dream revelation that I did mention throughout this word that I had posted on TikTok back in June 7, 2024. I will share it again on TikTok, and I will repost it for the first time on YouTube for those to watch it that feel led to watch it. But yes, God bless.